September 7th, 1991. Dear friend, I do not like high school. The cafeteria is called the Nutrition Center, which is strange. There is this one girl in my advanced English class named Susan. In middle school, Susan was very fun to be around. She liked movies, and her brother Frank made her tapes of this great music that she shared with us. But over the summer, she had her braces taken off, and she got a little taller and prettier and grew breasts. Now she acts a lot dumber in the hallways, especially when boys are around. I think it's sad because Susan doesn't look happy. To tell you the truth, she doesn't like to admit she's in the advanced English class, and she doesn't like to say hi to me in the hallway anymore. When Susan was at the guidance counselor meeting about Michael, she said that Michael once told her that she was the prettiest girl in the world, braces and all, and then he asked her to go with him, which was a big deal at any school. They called it going out in high school, and they kissed and talked about movies. She missed him terribly because he was her best friend. It's funny, too, because boys and girls normally weren't best friends around my school, but Michael and Susan were. Kind of like my Aunt Helen and me. I'm sorry, my Aunt Helen and I. That's the one thing I learned this week. That and more consonant punctuation. I keep quiet most of the time, and only one kid named Scene really seemed to notice me. He waited for me after gym class and said really immature things like how he was going to give me a swirly, which is where someone sticks your head in the toilet and flushes it to make your hair swirl around. He said pretty unhappy. He seemed pretty unhappy as well, and I told him so. Then he got mad and started hitting me, and I just did the things that my brother taught me to do. My brother is a very good fighter. Go for the knees, the throat, and the eyes. And I did, and I really hurt Scene. And then I started crying, and my sister had to leave her senior honors class and drive me home. I got called to Mr. Small's office, but I didn't get suspended or anything, because a kid told Mr. Small the truth about the fight. Scene started it. It was self-defense. And it was. I just don't understand why Scene wanted to hurt me. I didn't do anything to him. I'm very small. That's true. But I guess Scene didn't know I could fight. The truth is, I could have hurt him a lot worse. And maybe I should have. Thought that I might have to if he came after the kid who told Mr. Small the truth. But Scene never did go after him, so everything was forgotten. Some kids look at me strange in the hallways because I don't decorate my locker. I'm the one who beat up Scene and couldn't stop crying after he did it. I guess I'm pretty emotional. It has been very lonely because my sister is busy being the oldest in our family. My brother is busy being a football player at Penn State, and after the training camp, his coach said that he was the second string, and that when he starts learning the system, he will be first string. My dad really hopes he will make it to the pros and play for the Steelers. My mom is just glad he gets to go to college for free because my sister doesn't play football, and there wouldn't be enough money to send both of them. That's why she wants me to keep working hard, so I'll get an A in academic scholarship. So that's what I'm doing until I meet a friend here. I was hoping that the kid who told the truth would become a friend of mine, but I think he was just being a good guy by telling. Love always, Charlie. September 11th, 1991. Dear friend, I don't have a lot of time because my advanced English teacher assigned us a book to read, and I like to read books twice. Incidentally, the book is To Kill a Mockingbird. If you haven't read it, I think you should, because it's very interesting. The teacher has assigned us a few chapters at a time, but I do not like to read books like that. I am halfway through the first time. Anyways, the reason I'm writing to you is because I saw my brother on television. I normally don't like sports too much, but this was a special occasion. My mother started crying, and my father has his arm around her shoulder, and my sister smiled, which is funny because my brother and sister always fight when he's around. My older brother was on television, and so far, it's been the highlight of my 2 weeks at high school. I miss him terribly, which is strange, because we never really talked much when he was here. I still don't talk, to be honest. I would tell you his position, but like I said, I would like to be anonymous to you. I hope you understand. Love always, Charlie. September 16th, 1991. Dear friend, I have finished To Kill a Mockingbird. It is now my favorite book of all time, but then again, I always think that until I read another book. My advanced English teacher asked me to call him Bill when we're not in class, and he gave me another book to read. He says that I have a great skill at reading and understanding language, and he wanted me to write an essay about To Kill a Mockingbird. I mentioned this to my mom, and asked why Bill didn't recommend that I just take a sophomore and junior class. And I told her that Bill said that these were basically the same classes with more complicated books, and that it wouldn't help me. My mom said that she wasn't sure and would talk to him during open house. Then she asked me to help her by washing the dishes, which I did. Honestly, I don't like doing dishes. I like eating with my fingers and off napkins. But my sister says that doing is so bad for the environment. She is part of the Earth Day Club here at high school, and that is where she meets the boys. They're all very nice to her. I don't really understand why, except maybe the fact that she is pretty. She is really mean to these boys. One boy in particular has it particularly hard. I won't tell you his name, but I will tell you all about him. He has very nice brown hair, and he wears it long with a ponytail. I think he will regret this when he looks back on his life. He is always mixing tapes for my sister with very specific themes. One is called Autumn Leaves, which included many songs by the Smiths. He even hand-colored the cover. After the movie he rented was over, and he left, my sister gave me the tape. Do you want this, Charlie? I took the tape, but I felt weird about it because he had made it for her, and I listened to it, and I loved it very much. There's this one song called Asleep that I would like you to listen to. I told my sister about it, and a week later she thanked me because when this boy asked her about the tape, she said exactly what I said about the song Asleep. And this boy was very moved by how much it meant to her. I hope this means I will be good at dating when the time comes. I should stick to the subject, though. That is why my teacher, Bill, tells me to do, because I write kind of the way I talk. I think that is why he wants me to write that essay about To Kill a Mockingbird. Well, this boy who likes my sister is always respectful to my parents. My mom likes him very much because of this. My dad thinks he's soft. I think that's why my sister does what she does to him. This one night she was saying very mean things about how he didn't stand up to the bully in class when he was 15 or something like that. To tell you the truth, I was just watching the movie that he had rented, so I wasn't paying very close attention to their fight. They fight all the time, so I figured that the movie was at least something different, which it was, because it was a sequel. Anyway, after she leaned into him for about 4 movie scenes, which I guess is about 10 minutes or so, he started crying very hard. And then I turned around and my sister pointed at me. You see, even Charlie stood up to his bully. You see? And this guy got really red-faced. And he looked at me, then he looked at her, and he wound up and hit her hard across the face. I mean hard. I just froze because I couldn't believe he did it. It was not like him at all to hit anybody. He was the boy that made the mixtapes with themes and hand-colored covers until he hit my sister and stopped crying. The weird part is that my sister didn't do anything. She looked at him very quietly. It was so weird. My sister goes crazy You eat the wrong kind of tuna. Here was this guy hitting her, and she didn't say anything. She just got soft and nice, and she asked me to leave, which I did. After the boy had left, she said that they were going out, and not to tell Mom or Dad what happened. I guess he stood up to his bully, and I guess that makes sense. That weekend, my sister spent a lot of time with this boy, and they laughed a lot more than they usually did on Friday night. I was reading my new book, but my brain got tired, so I decided to watch some television instead. I opened the door to the basement, and my sister and this boy were naked. He was on top of her, and her legs were draped over either side of the couch. She screamed at me in a whisper, "Get out, you pervert!" So I left. The next day we all watched my brother play football, and my sister invited this boy over. I'm not sure when he left the previous night, but they held hands and acted like everything was happy. And this boy said something about about the football team hasn't been the same since my brother graduated. And my dad thanked him. And when the boy left, my dad said that this boy was becoming a fine young man who could carry himself. And my mom was quiet. And my sister looked at me to make sure I wouldn't say anything. And that was that. Yes, he is. That's all my sister could say. And I could see this boy at home doing his homework and thinking about my sister naked. And I could see them holding hands at football games that they do not watch. And I could see this boy throwing up in the bushes at a party house. And I could see my sister putting up with it. And I felt very bad for both of them. Love always, Charlie.